All right. Lakshmi, would you mind sharing the latest tech, please?
Yeah, sure, Sajit. It is showing host disabled attendee screen share.
Oh yeah, Arshia, can you please give me presentation rights, me and Lakshmi?
Yeah, sure.
While we do that, anybody who's preparing for an ACP right now, anybody who's planning to give an exam soon? Do we have any prospective people in this group right now? I see there are 21 people in this meeting room. Anybody who already has any Atlassian certifications?
I am getting ready for my 620. I've booked it in 25th of May, and
Okay, that's good.
I'm studying for the ACP 620. Yeah, looking forward to it.
Oh, perfect. Yeah, awesome, Alessandro. Anybody else? Lakshmi, can you check now?
Yeah, hi Aditya, this side. I'm also
No,
preparing for
not yet.
620.
Perfect.
I have a 620 also.
All right.
Still, I'm unable to share the screen.
I guess both of you need access as a host.
Lakshmi, I just made you the host. Maybe try now.
Okay.
Yeah, now I'm able to share my screen.
Great.
Okay, perfect. Awesome. So, yeah, everybody, once again, we are going to talk about Atlassian certifications today. Lakshmi, can you just go into full presentation mode so that...
Yeah.
There you go. Perfect. I hope everybody can see Lakshmi's screen.
Yes, in full screen. Yep.
Awesome. So yeah, so this is going to be the plan for today. We are going to talk about Atlassian certifications. We're going to look at what are the options that are available out there, why you should get one, and some tough questions around what happens if you don't clear an exam when you plan for it. So those are the things that we are going to do. Lakshmi is going to drive the sessions mostly, and we are also going to talk about some pro tips. So before we begin, a quick introduction about myself and Lakshmi. Lakshmi, if you could go back. Yeah. So my name is Sajit Nair. As I mentioned, I have 3 ACPs right now, which I'm somehow maintaining. So you have to maintain your ACP with getting badges or getting new certifications. So right now I have 3. I plan to just maintain 2 because it takes effort to maintain an ACP as well. I'm also a Delhi community leader. So I've in that role worked with a lot of people and helped them in getting ACPs, like in help them get study material after reading the official material, help them answer some of the questions. We are going to do that today as well. We are going to push out a couple of sample questions and look at why those are the right answer or why they are the wrong answers. Both Lakshmi and I are from Trundle. Lakshmi, over to you for your quick introduction.
Yeah. Hi everyone. Hope all are doing good. I'm Lakshmi Alapati and I have been working as Atlassian Tools Engineer with Trundle for the past 5 years. And I have completed 3 Atlassian certifications. That's it.
Awesome. So yeah, at any point in time, if you have any questions, feel free to just unmute yourself, or if you have any specific question that you want to write in the chat, go ahead and do that, and we'll be able to answer that right on the call itself. Yeah, I think with that, I think we can just move forward and start talking about the agenda. Yes. So we'll talk about why you should take a certification exam. What are the available options? How should you decide which one you should choose? How to prepare, taking the exam, a couple of pro tips, and what if you fail, right? So this is going to be the agenda. Let's move forward. So go all over to you, Lakshmi. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let us have a brief discussion on available certifications in Atlassian certification portal. These are the available certifications currently we are having in Atlassian certification portal: ACP 100, ACP 120, ACP 420, ACP 610, ACP 620, and Atlassian certified expert. Why we get certified? If you are the certified engineer, if you have completed your certification, it will be very helpful for your career perspective within the organization or outside of your organization. And market will value and non-certified people, and everyone.
Lakshmi, there seems to be a lag in your audio. Maybe you might want to
And
turn your
it will
video
increase
off.
your knowledge as well. Sajit, do you have any points to add here?
No, I was just saying, I think your voice was dropping a bit, so I'll just recap what you were saying. Getting an ACB definitely adds on to your resume. Personally, I know that when I am looking for somebody to join in my own team, I prefer having somebody who has an Atlassian certification, because what it shows is the initiative of uh, going out there and getting your skills certified. Because yes, you can be a Jira admin, but clearing an Atlassian certification is a big deal, because unlike other certifications that you might find out there, it's a tricky one to have, right? The course material and the passing marks, plus the amount of thinking that you'd have to put in each question. That's really going to get you your money's worth at the end of the day. It also is beneficial because what it does is it gives you perspective of what your current role should be, right? Like, if you are a project admin, I would recommend going for the project admin, that the 620 course, rather than going for the 121, which is a little higher in the scale, right? Because your daily responsibility working in cloud will definitely come into picture. How you are, the best practices of managing groups versus people, the best practices of creating custom field workflows, how are all these going to tune your organization, how are these going to work in tandem with how you are going to maintain your instance. So it's not just about solving a problem as a Jira admin, right? The certifications try to give you a perspective where you are able to scale along in time. So that's a very crucial perspective that you have to keep in mind when you are going to do, because a lot of questions and answers might look like correct answers and things you might already be doing, but those might not be the best practices that Atlassian suggests. So that certification will definitely add on weight on your resume and get you like an expert authority in the field as well. That the screenshot that you see at the end is from the certification portal itself, university.atlassian.com, where it says 73% of ACPs report that they've got better job prospects. So yeah, definitely would recommend if you are somebody who works in Atlassian toolset, specifically in Jira, because in Confluence you can get badges, and Jira Line is something which is still coming into the picture. But specifically, if you're working in Jira software and Jira service management, you should definitely think about getting a certification. Go ahead, Lakshmi.
Yeah. Taking the exam format, Atlassian certifications will have all the questions are multiple choice questions only. So the time limit for all the certifications is same, that is 180 minutes. But the number of questions and passing score will vary. So
Right.
when we are going, it will ask you for, as it is multiple choice questions, it will ask us to choose more than one answer. So when we are going through the answers, we have to be very careful and we have to choose the best answer.
One thing I would recommend here is read it seems like a very simple tip, but a very important thing that you need to do is read the question, right? Because sometimes you would miss out that you have to select multiple answers and you would select just one or max two, and the question said select the best three responses. And even if you've given 2 correct, if you've not given the 3 correct, you'll not get the points for that question, right? So you definitely need to and like pay attention to what the question is asking, how many correct answers are in the options that are provided. So as Lakshmi mentioned, the questions vary, but somewhere around the value of 65 to 73 is the questions number that you get, and you have to complete those in 3 hours. And yeah, all questions are MCQs. You'll not have to write anything specifically, but yeah, that's the exam format.
Which one should you use? Which should you choose? If you want to gain knowledge on entire Jira instance, it's better to take the Jira Administrator certifications. Those are ACP 100 and ACP 120. Coming to the JSM Administrator certification, in your Atlassian certification portal, currently we are having only one JSM related certification, that is ACP 420. Nowadays, most of the companies are using JSM as well. So if you gain this certification, it will be very helpful for your career. And if anyone are having interest to become as project manager, project management side or scrum masters, then it's better to choose the ACP 610 or ACP 620. These two are related to project administration in server, in data center and cloud.
Right. One interesting thing to note here, like if you're somebody who's been working in the system for quite a while, like somebody like me, I have one of these, and I have one certification which is going to expire next year, right? So a lot of certifications have been decommissioned by Atlassian, and a lot of them have been revamped for server and for data center and for cloud, right? The 420 is a brilliant, that something that I am preparing for myself right now, with the campaign, the End BSM campaign, that is very prominent in the Atlassian ecosystem right now. If you are somebody who's working with the Jira Service Management tool, I would definitely recommend taking that up. It's a tricky exam, but it's well worth its money. And there aren't a lot of JSM administrators out there, right? The first step I would still mention is 610 or 620, depending on what you are working on. If you're working on cloud, go for cloud. If you're working on data center, go for data center. But if you are somebody who is well versed in the ways of Jira and like understand the projects, understand the schemas, understand, like have a little bit of experience with JQL, because that's a tricky aspect of this exam, the JQLs, right? The Jira query languages. Apart from that, I think if you have mastery over those, I would recommend going for the ACP 420 as well. So depending on where you are in your career, depending on where you are in your role, I think a normal developer, you can also, as a normal developer or a BA, you can also go for the 610 or 620, because those are the first levels of certification that you should go for. And any questions, by the way? Let me just take a quick pause here. All right. If there aren't any, let's move forward.
How to register for the exam? To register for the exam, first of all, we have to sign into the Atlassian certification portal. Using this URL, we have to sign into the Atlassian certification portal. If you don't have sign-in credentials, you have to sign up and then you have to sign in. Once you have logged into the Atlassian certification portal, it will take you to the Certimetrics page. In that Certimetrics page, you can see the option to schedule for the exam. In that, you have to choose date and time for the exam, and you have to pay for the exam from certification portal by using voucher code or credit cards. And it will give you two options to take the exam, from where you want to take the exam. That is testing center or virtually from home. If you want to take the exam from testing center, you have to go to the testing center prior to the 30 minutes before the exam, and you have to carry out one ID proof as well. And if you are taking the exam virtually from home, you have to download one online protector application, and Atlassian will give you some instructions also. So you have to follow all those instructions, and proctor will monitor you throughout the exam. And proctor will ask you to show your ID proof, and he will ask you to show the entire room. So he will scan your room, and once he approves, you will get the option to start the certification exam.
It sounds funny for somebody who has not taken that exam, but it is that tricky. I took my first exam during peak COVID, and I was in quarantine, and I thought, let me make the best of this time that I have and study and give an exam. And the person literally asked me to pick up my laptop and just move it around the room and show, like, is there a wall behind the laptop? Is the door closed? And it was crazy, right? And since then, I think it has become a little better than that, but it still is like you would not be allowed to have any, like, I have a workstation where I have speakers and an auxiliary monitor and everything. They would ask you to maybe change your location and give your exam from a place where you do not have much other tech lying around. You would not be allowed to have headphones. You would not be allowed to have a phone in the vicinity. If there is any other person, your mic and camera obviously will be on at all times if you're giving the exam from home, of course, because the proctor will continuously monitor how you are giving the exam. Like, for example, a friend of mine, he was giving the exam and somebody called and he just like looked there, and the moment he looked at the screen, his exam had paused. So he got a chat saying that, hey, we heard a noise, and then he had to respond, hey, somebody called but nobody came in, and then they re-enabled the exam and the exam got active. It sounds really, really like weird, but that's how the exam is. That's how strictly the proctor monitors you when you're giving the exam virtually from home. So yeah, find a place in the house where you're alone, you're sitting, like have a bottle of water next to you maybe. And that also, I think they'll ask you to put it in a transparent glass or something. I think you cannot have like a bottle of like a flask or something which isn't transparent. It's really strict, the people with cert metrics, but yeah, I think that's how they are maintaining the integrity of the exam as well. But you can avoid all of this by going to just their testing center and give the exam from there as well.
So test center doesn't have a proctor?
They would, but you would not have to worry about it because you would just sit in a room with one computer and give the exam.
Okay, so there will be a external proctor, but there won't be any PSA software.
Yeah, they won't be. You wouldn't have to worry. You won't take your laptop, right? You would work from a computer there in the center. So they would have cameras and everything already there.
Okay.
What is the passing score and how frequently the exam course material gets updated?
All right. Each exam has a different score, but the range varies from, I think, 66 or 65 for 610 or 620, I believe. Lakshmi, correct me if I'm wrong,
Yes,
please.
Sajit. Yeah. For Zero Administrator certification exams, the passing score is 60%. And for project administration exams, the passing score is 65.
65. And in terms of course material, it does not change, honestly, unless there's a big I would say UI change or something like that, because the exam is cloud, right? If you're giving the cloud exam, obviously you're going to give the exam which is the most latest and the most greatest. But like if something big like Atlassian intelligence that has just recently come, or those kind of things will not be in your exam. You'll get a proper, when you book the exam, you'll get a proper course content that you can review, and it will tell you these are the items from where the questions will come. So nothing outside of that will definitely come.
Thank you.
Any other questions, guys?
Sajit, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Sajit, this is Sandeep. I'm just looking forward. How much is the costing for this? Certifications and things. Do you have some slides after this, or?
Yeah, Lakshmi, can you just maybe briefly? We can talk about the costing at the end.
Yeah. Oh, that's fine. Yeah. Thank you.
One question, Sajit. Suppose if someone having extensive experience working on Jira on cloud,
Sure.
can they directly go for the exam, or is preparation or training mandatory?
It's not mandatory, but it is 130% recommended, trusted from somebody who has worked in the ecosystem for almost 8 years and know people who are far better administrators than I am and have seen them fail. Because the exam talks about everything pure, right? It does not, a lot of times, the real world example and what works in the real world is not what will be the right answer in the exam. So you have to think from a very best practices perspective and give the exam.
Makes sense.
Yeah,
Sajit,
that's I 100% recommend to study and prepare from the course material, then give the exam, even if you have the experience. Sorry, we had a question, I guess.
Hi, Sajit. Piyush, actually not a question, but just an answer to the previous question. So actually, I was having experience 7 years with this server and data center, but only 2 months of experience with the cloud. And when I actually gave the exam for the first time, I actually scored more in cloud but less in data center, even
Yeah,
with the 2 months.
right.
But actually, the main concept over here is whatever the question that is coming in, right? There's all new, and many of the questions something that we might have seen in day-to-day life, but we haven't experienced the different scenarios for the same question. So we
Right.
think that this is a process, this is how it is going to be done. But
Definitely.
actually, when you go with the exam question, right, in the test questions and so and so scenarios, you will come to know that till now you were thinking this one has only one scenario, but actually that might have more than 2 or 3 scenarios, and
For
those
sure.
scenarios could be more recommended one from the Atlassian rather than ours.
Yep. Definitely. That's the tricky part, like where the real world experience of yours might not be the best, route
Exactly.
to go. Yeah, let's move forward. We'll have more questions as we go along. I think, Lakshmi, let's move on.
Yeah. How to prepare for the certification? From Atlassian certification portal, download all the content, download all the list of topics, and search for all the topics and go through the
Oh, sorry,
Atlassian
Lakshmi, I
document.
think your screen is still stuck to how to register for the certification.
Okay, sorry.
No, there we are.
Okay. Sorry for the inconvenience.
No worries.
How to prepare for the certification? First, download all the topics from the Atlassian certification portal and search for all the topics, documentations in Atlassian. And go through all the all the topics. Don't just read all the topics. Hands-on practice is very important here. So create your local Jira instance and practice all the topics in your local Jira instance. For example, if you are going through the advanced workflow configurations, don't just read the documentation. Apply few post functions, validators, and conditions to the workflow in your instance and observe how all are working. And if you are feeling anything as difficult to remember, just make note all of those and go through your notes before you are going to the exam. And also Atlassian will provide you the some sample tests and labs. So practice all the lab sessions and write all the sample tests. Sajit, do you have
No,
anything?
yeah, I think that's enough. You're right on that. Practice is the most important thing. You have to do hands-on because just being theory will not help out. Use your sandbox instance and play around with all the scenarios. The most tricky ones are around the roles and the dashboard and the reports, right? So go through your reports properly, go through your dashboards properly. If you're giving like a Jira administrator exam, and go through your versions, your components, when to use what is a type of question you'll find a lot in the exam. And JQL, right? Like we will talk more about JQL in the end, because I personally I feel JQL is going to see a decline in that exam. But right now it still is a very major aspect. you might be given a JQL and asked what would be the outcome of this, or you might be given an outcome and asked which out of these 4 JQL will get you this outcome. So all 4 JQLs that you'll see in the options will be very alike, and just one operator will make a difference, like of or in or not in, those kind of things, right? So you have to be very peculiar of what operator will work with what type of field, right? Your date will work with this operator. Your drop down type field will not work with this type of field, this type of operator. So you need to practice that, and only when you practice it, that's when it's going to stick in your brain when the right time comes. All right, let's move on. Pro tips, my favorite slide. There are no pro tips, honestly, right? But one thing that I did a lot when I was giving the exam is waste a lot of time looking for sample questions or solutions online, right? I wasted a lot of time. And because I come from like the agile and like, SPC and like Scrum and all those exams, and all of those exams, you get sample questions easily, fairly easily on the web. If you are, if you know where to look, PMI, CAPM, you would not get the right answers. And you might get questions and the answers, but there's no way to confirm that the answer that you are reading through is the correct answer. So I would recommend your source of study should either be Atlassian documentation or somebody who has cleared that exam to the point that you can trust that person. Or the best answer is your community. Ask questions in Atlassian community, as Lakshmi mentioned. Write down your doubts in one big blog post, post it on Atlassian community, and have the big shots give you the correct answer, right? On all your answers, as I said earlier, also think from a scalability perspective. It might work today if you follow one answer, but will it work in the long run? So think from that perspective for sure. Cheating isn't an option, as I mentioned. So practice, practice, practice. If you're virtually giving the exam, there is no way the proctor is going to do that. Let you like cheat from any way possible. And of course, if you're giving it from their center, it's just not an option. One thing that I would recommend is there's a video. I'll share this PPT with Arshia, and maybe she could attach that in the ACE page as well. Check out this video called Certification Success Panel. We had a similar discussion in Teams 23 as well, with I think it was John Funk, Esther, Nick, and Christian in that group. But I think in this one, there's Joanna, Jimmy, and Hannah. Check that video out. It's a good video. They talk about certification and what to do and what not to do. It's on the university as well. Check that video out as well. That's what I would recommend. And any questions? Otherwise, yeah, we have 2 more slides to cover. Then we'll do like a full round of Q&A. Let's move on, Lakshmi. Yeah, I think over to you now. Let's prep some sample questions and answers, and feel free to just give an answer. Maybe type it in the chat. If you're confident, say it out loud. But if you're not, you can type it in the chat also. That's completely all right.
Yeah.
All right.
Here are some sample questions. The first question is, certain Scrum Masters must be able to create and reorder sprints in a particular project. Identify 3 possible actions that may enable them to do so. Here we have to choose the 3 correct options. So anyone can answer this?
Somehow I'm not able to send a message to the chat. Arshia, can you just check if that permission is disabled, or others can? Maybe I am just not able to. Are you guys able to message on the chat?
I think host can enable that.
Okay.
As I'm a participant, I don't see.
Oh yeah. Lakshmi, can you make me a host for a second? Let me just enable that. Or you can just click on that chat. Can you click on that just chat? Right at the bottom, yeah. That one arrow next to the chat. No, not there. Where you see the chat, you have that one up arrow, right? Not there. In this main screen. All right, just give me the permission. That's all right. Can just click on participants, then a list will open up. And just click on my name and make me the host. There you go. Somehow it's not giving you the option to make co-host, right? All right. Now I have.
Can we go back to the question?
Yeah, Lakshmi, can you go back to the slide, please?
Yes.
Right, there are a couple of charts that are falling in. And I'm enabling chart for everyone. Okay, now I have enabled chart for everybody. Please send your charts to everybody or send your charts to me.
Yeah, it is enabled. I can see it. Send it to everyone.
Yes. Perfect. So now people, you can just respond on the chat or maybe just shout out your answers. So people are saying A, B, and E. Okay. Any other guesses? Let's look at A. So it says add them to a group listed in managed sprints. A, B, and F. Joydeep says A, B, and F. All right. A, B, E, and A, B, F. A, B, D. Okay. The answers are changing. All right. Piyush says A, B, F. All right. All right. Let's look at the answer, Lakshmi. Oh, Alessandro says PDF. All right. So A, B, and D is the correct answer, not A, B, and F. A, B, and D are the correct answers. Now let's look at why these are the. So I think D, F was the correct. A lot of people said F, right? So now you can read the reason why F is incorrect. So it says schedule issue permission allows user to add issues to sprint, but not to manage sprints. So that's the reason you should have chosen D, which is administrator's project role may be listed in managed sprints permission. It's not a given. It is a possible action. So now you realize a lot of you gave answers F. I personally would have thought F as well because of how we usually work in everyday world, right? But the textbook answer is a little different. And that's why these answers help a lot. So when you go through the sample questions, which is provided by Atlassian, don't just look what are the correct answers, read the incorrect ones. They will tell you what not to do, right? Like for example, C. So if you read the question C, you'll be able to see that an application accesses a valid entry, but Jira core users cannot access features of Jira software. So you'll be able to remember, oh yeah, this incorrect answer will tell you a fact which will help you in another question. So always go through all the incorrect and the correct reasonings when you are trying out the sample questions. All right, let's move to the next question, Lakshmi. All right, a project has 2 security levels. Some users complain they can select only the default level when creating the issue and not the sensitive level. Identify the reason. So now you only have to give one reason. It's interesting. I'm glad that you guys saw that in the previous questions you had to look for 3 options and you guys gave us 3 options. But in this one, it's not mentioned, so you have to select one. Which one? All right. E is an option. They are not in the managers group. Okay. Adrian Alessandro said E. All right. Anybody else who would want to refute that question? Oh, refute that answer? All right. And people are saying E, which is the right answer. So yes, that is right. The key to answering this question is understanding issue level security. So now you can read through the answer and then it will help you understand, the reasons why they would have done the right thing. But then again, I would recommend read A, B, C, and D as well, because they will tell you something that you already either knew or would confirm a fact which might be helpful in a different question. So that's right. Let's move on to the next question, which is the third question. You are a project administrator of multiple projects, all of which share a workflow and a permission scheme. One of the workflow has a condition that allows only users with schedule issue permissions to execute it. These users differ in each project and you need to manage them regularly. Which entry needs to be added to schedule issues permission? All right, let's have some guesses again. Which entry do you think we should do in the schedule issues permission? Basically, what the question is asking is editing permission scheme and making an entry in the schedule issues. Which one should it be? Should you add application access? Should you add group custom field? Okay, Danny and Piyush say E. All right. There's B and D as well. Group custom field value. Okay, that's interesting. And D is group. Okay. All right, D, which is again group. All right, Lakshmi, let's reveal the answer.
Yes, sir.
The answer is E. So again, think from a project administrator perspective. The D, 99% case, is the correct answer. But from a project administrator point of view, it's not, because the project administrator cannot manage groups. The project administrator can manage roles. So you use roles to manage this kind of a scenario and fix the problem. Right? The custom field again is, let me give you a rule of thumb. Custom field will be the most least likely answer in any question that you get in this exam, because custom field is something that Atlassian does not recommend for a lot of problems. It's just what we as users have taken as our Hail Mary, and just we've created them in so many ways and shapes and forms that it has now started to impact people's performance in Jira, right? But custom field will be your least likely answer. Unless you are going for 120, then it still might be, but even then it will be your least likely option. So on the other hand, project role will be your most viable answer, but just don't quote me on that. But project role is something that, the reason I say that is because the project administrator exam focus on what project administrator can do, and what the project administrator's main weapon is using project roles. How seamlessly he can use roles and avoid using groups and custom fields. That's why, even in this question, the project role is the correct answer. All right, let's move on, Lakshmi.
What if you fail?
Yes. What if you fail? So this email that you're seeing on the right, we've removed some of this issues from there, but that's a very tough email to get, right? We know a lot of people who've got this email. People who are really good Jira administrators, have worked in the tool for years and years, but still have got this email. What to do next, right? Reassess your topics, right? So you would have this topic wise score that you'll get in your email. It will tell you that, okay, these are the areas in which you scored well. These are the areas in which you didn't score well, right? So reassess what you didn't do well and focus on that first. That being said, do not leave alone the things where you had done well as well, because you need to refresh your memory before giving the exam time. You get a stipulated amount of time where before, I think it's 2 weeks, Lakshmi, if I'm not correct, if I'm not wrong.
In case you fail the exam, there will be the waiting period of 7 days for re-registering the exam.
Okay, yes, 7 days is the official re-registering the exam, but I would recommend at least 2 weeks so that you can, prep easily and do that. Focus more on doing than reading. So if you read again those topics in which you have not scored well, not going to make a big difference. Try doing practice sessions of those items again, We have a very interesting question in the chat. I'll not mention the name, but I will respond to that in a second, and then reapply. Right. So once you practice those items again, specifically a lot of like historically, as because I see a lot of my teams giving this exam, a lot of them pass, but of course, in the odd chance, a lot of them fail as well. The trickier ones. Uh, I know somebody who failed with 63% marks on a 65 620 exam, right? So it's tough, right, when you get this email. But the only option that I would recommend is take some time, reassess, look at areas in which you have not scored well, study those, refresh the ones in which you did score well, and then give the exam again. Take the time. Do not go in a hurry like, okay, I've studied so long, I'll just give the exam again in 7 days. Don't. Take at least 2 weeks, study well, prepare well, practice well, and don't overload your brain as well. Like if you're studying JQL for far too long, you are only going to start looking at operators like even in while watching Netflix. So don't do that. Take time, give your brain some rest as well, and then reapply and then give the exam. All right. Do we have any other slide, Lakshmi?
That's it, sir.
That's it.
Thank
All right. So now my favorite part, right? We can stop sharing, Lakshmi, and then we can have conversation and talk to everybody about what are the other items that we should talk about. So you can just stop share. Yes, there you go. Perfect. I have a question in the chat that says, any idea of question repetition of getting the same questions in the next exam attempt? Yes, the questions can be repeated, but I'll tell you how they make you confused. They would change the order of the answer, right? And you would think, oh, last time I gave A, but then you would get confused. No, but the exam that I gave this time, it's coming in a different order. Or they'll change a very tiny word in it, like they'll add a not in the JQL question, or they'll add something else in there as well. So would not recommend going by the idea of that, oh, I knew this question, I've answered this question, so I should just give it from my memory. You should again go through the exact question, give it time, read, then look at the options. And one of the best options that I usually try in these kind of exams is the elimination criteria, right? I would not look for the right answer. I would look at the most incorrect answer and eliminate that. Then work my until I don't have any other option left. So whichever is the least wrong answer, that is my answer when I don't know. There's a question, are exams and retakes full price? I'm going to defer that to Lakshmi.
Yeah, the retakes the exam will take full price. That means the cost of the retaking exam is same as the cost of the initial attempt.
Okay. And we have any other questions? We have one very interesting question, which is salaries for Jira admins. Can you please provide some insight on this? So the question also said like geographically in India, but I'm going to like generically talk about this. Okay, we all know how broad the Atlassian ecosystem is, and you'll find Jira admins in average paying jobs, in less than average paying jobs, and in extremely paying jobs as well. I'm specifically talking from an Indian context first. Maybe somebody else can shed some light from a global point of view as well. But what I would recommend, if you're trying to build a career in Jira and if you are already have been working in it, what I would recommend as a growth parameter for you is, don't just focus on a tool for mastering the tool. The tool always has to be a vehicle for you to implement something, right? Jira ideally cannot be the answer. So the process improvement might be your answer. A product development might be your answer, for which you are trying to leverage Jira. If you think and start preparing your mind in that direction, like if you, let me make it more simple. If you train yourself to become a consultant than a Jira admin, with the abilities of a Jira admin, then your resume will have a lot more weight. You'll get much better, job prospects, and you might get better salaries as well. Specifically in India, now there are decent amount of partners who are looking for people who are certified, because in the APAC region specifically, there's a lot of growth opportunities. I'm sure the same is the case for other geographies as well, but specifically in India, because that's what the question said, there are a lot of partners who are hiring for Atlassian certified admins, because that shows that you are serious about your learning, you've invested some time, and most importantly, if you are trying to get into a partner, it's a mandatory qualification to have X amount of certifications for that partner. So they would definitely prefer you over a candidate who does not have it. Okay, there's a one question says, last time I took the exam, they asked a lot about company managed and team managed projects. Yes, 100%. So 620 will definitely have a lot of, because project admins have to make the decision call, ideally in an ideal world, for your teams, that whether you are going for a team managed project or a company managed project, right? So you need to understand the difference between both. What are the features that you get in either? And you are able to justify on that line. So definitely read through the company managed projects and the team managed projects. On Atlassian University, the recommended learning path for 120 includes courses on server admin. Is this really necessary for a cloud admin certification, or could we skip these courses? Lakshmi, I think this is a question for you. So if you're talking about 120, let me refine and help you understand the question. The question is, if somebody is preparing for ACP 120, do they need to study about server, or can we skip those courses?
It is not necessary to take the courses. We can skip the courses, but we have to first download all the topics, and we have to search for the documentation. Atlassian document, we can get most of the Atlassian documentation, so you can search in that and you can practice.
All right. We have one question. 2 minutes, cheers. What are on-demand Atlassian certification where companies are looking for? I mean, on-demand courses aren't like, it's different from certifications officially, if you're talking about from Atlassian ecosystem, right? So there are badges and then there are certifications are having more weight, right? So if you are somebody who wants to get accredited, go for ACP 610, go for ACP 620, because and I think right now, I think after Teams 22, they made some decent changes in the price. So I think you get like $100 bundle for 620, in which you get a prep course and you get one shot of giving the exam. And that's like $100 bundle, if I'm not wrong, Lakshmi.
Yes.
Right? Yeah. And it might be a little here and there for other courses, but I think it used to be $180 or something, or more than that, I think, for a couple of courses. But Atlassian has definitely reduced the price for a lot of them. So I would recommend looking at those as well. Do we have any material where it says exact difference between company managed Kanban, team managed Kanban, team managed Scrum, and Scrum managed Scrum? Your best answer, search in Atlassian community. You would definitely, I can point you to the answer, but I would recommend go search this question in Atlassian community. You would definitely get it. And yeah, that's what I would say. Check it out, Atlassian community. That's your source of answer. Piyush says, for ACP 620, test questions are at, oh yes, there are test questions. I'm like, again, I would say that again, I mean, it's your risk if you want to try the Udemy course, but I would still not, 100% vet it, because I personally have felt a lot of questions might have a little different answer. Might be just me. A couple of other people have told me that also. So personally, if I am studying, I will not look at any prep questions, because If I've learned something incorrect from a course and I will implement that in my exam, I might as well just study it on the actual documentation and read.
That's correct, Sajit. Actually, only the best 99.9% good part is go with the documentation.
Yeah.
Just for the Udemy one, what I found is out that actually I didn't use this. I got to know after when I gave the exam. The good
Okay.
part is you'll come to know the types of question or the way the questions align, or
Yes.
like the way the question you have to do the elimination. That is a
Right.
perfect for this one.
Right. Yeah, that's definitely I recommend. So look
Yeah.
how the questions are coming, yes, but what the right answer is, no. Definitely take the questions and get your own answers vetted, because you cannot be 100% sure that those courses are right, those answers are right. Any other questions? Is there
I
any
just wanted to
free
know,
provided cloud sandbox for
if I
practice?
can add some
Yes.
experience from the exam. Well, I
Mhm.
think that the Udemy course is great, but actually there is an updated course from this year, 2023. We'll share in the chat, and well, as you said, it's not the specific questions, but I think it helps to understand how the questions are approached. So it like teach you a way of thinking around
Sure.
those questions, and it focuses a lot on the modern company and team manage kind of question. So I think that's a good preparation to take a lot of mock exams and with a Jira instance opened and just experimenting, you know, and of course fail the questions. And the good thing about this Udemy course, for example, I don't know if we are allowed to share this course, but the good thing about the course is when you fail the question, they put the answer very clarified because why you failed. So it's a very good tool to experiment and to get to a better approach of the type of questions. That's from my experience.
Thank you for sharing, Adrian. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, you can definitely check it out. There's no harm, but like take it with a pinch of salt, right? Like you don't learn from it. Learn from your documentation and then try and check your knowledge. There's a question which says, is there any free provided cloud sandbox for practice? So up to 10 users, you will always have Atlassian instance for free. Just create your own instance and start playing around. There might be some features that you might not have it, for which you might get like a 1 month premium instance and try it out. Or yeah, I mean there are ways in which you can get add-ons. There are ways in which you can look for those kind of things, but I think more often than not, your basic requirements will be met in the free instance for sure.
So I had a quick question. So if someone plans on taking the ACP 620, which exam do you think goes hand in hand with that if they want to take one after as well?
So are you so we've not talked about something called Atlassian Certified Expert. We'll talk about that in a second. Is that something that you are aiming for?
Yes. Which is this the same as the 2+1 or?
Yes, that's the one. So you need to have like there are multiple paths. Okay, let's talk about a little advanced version as well. So once you've got a couple of certifications, what you might want to go for is something called Atlassian Certified Expert, which basically is there are paths on achieving certified expert, right? So you can have one Jira administrator certification, and like there are 2-3 exams that you can get. Then you can do like a badge, and once you have that, then you have to have uh, then you can go and achieve the certified expert. I'm just trying to find that URL. Just give me a second. Just to answer your short question in a short line, George, I would say if you're working in cloud and if you've got your ACP 600s, then if JSM is something that you're working for, go for 420. Otherwise, if you are a Jira admin, a site admin, you should definitely go for the 100s, the 110 and 120.
All right. Thank you.
I am just posting that link in the chat. This
Would
this
you
is
say?
basic. Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Go on.
No,
Now,
no,
it's
go
just
ahead.
following up on the question. So, would you say there's a lot of overlap with ACP 620 and 120, or are they?
Not necessarily. Lakshmi, do you want to answer that question?
I didn't understand that question.
The question Lakshmi George is asking is there overlap between 620 and 120? The exam, the course material.
620 and 120. 120 is completely for Jira administration perspective, and 620 is only for project management. So Jira administration will have more topics rather than project administration.
Right. I mean, it's a subset of it, like to answer your question, George, but the focus will be on the bigger picture for sure.
All right. Makes sense. Thank you.
Sure. I've given a link in the chat, folks. It's the Atlassian certified expert. It's maybe something to talk about. I mean, being not one myself, I would not go into that right now. But if this is something that you are interested to learn how to achieve an Atlassian certified expert path, maybe we can have a follow-up session, and I can actually get somebody who's a certified expert. I just have 3 certifications. Lakshmi has 3 certifications, but neither of us have gone on that path. Maybe Lakshmi will. We'll see. But yeah, I mean, we can get somebody who's an actual certified expert, and he'll be able to maybe answer that question a little more deeper. All right. Any other questions, guys?
Did you answer my question already? I'm sorry if I missed it. About migrations.
Oh, no, I did not. Was it in the chat, Arshia? Sorry.
Yes, it's for
Might have
everyone.
missed it.
If someone wants to specialize in migration,
Yes.
yeah.
No, there is no certification as of now in migration. The sad truth of Atlassian ecosystem is there is no one pill for migration, and migration is the hottest topic out there, right? With all these changes happening in the servers and like data centers, cloud, there isn't. It's each use case, and being from a partner ecosystem, I understand how tricky migrations are, right? So there, like, to answer your question, no, there is no certification. There isn't a course as well, to be very honest, for migration. You just have to work with that one use case. The good thing is Atlassian support is pretty elaborate when it comes to migration. But if you are working for a migration, or if you're planning to work in a migration, I would definitely recommend go with a partner. Find a partner which is in your time zone, find a partner who's closer to you, find a partner where you know some people, and work with them, because they have some ins with your Atlassian support teams, which gets things escalated when it needs to be. So I would definitely recommend working with any partner, not just any, like, I would not name any one specific one, but yeah, it's definitely something that you should consider.
Sure, makes sense. Thank you.
Sure. Any other questions? I saw somebody posted a link to a partner wiki. Alessandro, I think you posted that to Arshia's question. I don't think people in this group would, if you're not from the partner ecosystem, you would not have access to Atlassian.net, which is like a conference space dedicated to Atlassian partners. There is some simulation, but again, that not the right way to go, I would recommend. Any other questions? For those who work with partners and have access to Enablement Academy, a lot of paid courses are given for free. Yes, I totally agree. Sadly, partners are given advantage, and we do get access to courses which are not open for general public. There are some paid courses and some expensive courses which are for free. But then again, I mean, like knowing a lot of people in my team who've done those courses, it still isn't enough for any migration. You still have to take each migration as they come, because migrations are very, very unique to their existing use case, right? It can be cloud to cloud, it can be cloud to data center cloud, or even other tools to Jira or Jira to other tools. So it's a very unique proposition. So I generally prefer not to have a conversation around it until we know the details, so that we have, we know what we're talking about. There's no one size fits all approach when it comes to migrations. But if you are looking for conversation on migrations, I think we've done some, at least in Delhi community, we've done some great sessions on migrations. If London, Hyderabad, I know there are 3 communities right now in this group. If you guys are interested, we can definitely make that happen. We have 3 people who we know who are dedicated migration specialists in our team, and they are the ones who done that session for Delhi as well. We would love to have a co-hosted session with this same group again and do that again.
Yeah, that will be great.
Sure, we can make that happen.
I'll help organize it. Thank you.
For sure. Any other questions, guys? So I would just take one extra minute. This is from a very personal learning point of view. Don't take it dedicatedly for certifications. The reason I just remembered it, so I thought I'll share that as well. We spoke about JQL in detail in the beginning, right? And how it is critical to clearing the 620s and 120s. If you have seen the Teams 23 keynotes, specifically Mike's keynote around Atlassian intelligence, I am not 100% sure about the viability of JQL in the Atlassian ecosystem once the Atlassian intelligence is fully mature enough to work with it, right? So that's the reason I was saying I'm not 100% sure where the future of JQL is. So take it only like to the point where you need to understand it and clear the exam, because there used to be scripted fields, right? If you use script runner and you use JQL, you can collaborate both of them, and the power is like amazing. You can get some really, really specific data in your dashboards using the combination of these two. But I'm not sure where it is going, honestly, because now if you've seen that that keynote, you're able to, in normal English, type your question to Atlassian intelligence, and it's going to give you the JQL and it's going to run that report for you. So I don't know where that is going. That's why I'm not very confident about it. Not tested it out myself, but in the next couple of months, I'm hopeful as a partner we'll get access to it, or as community leaders we'll get access to it, and then we'll test it. I'm really looking forward to that on that front. If you've not checked that out, go check that keynote out. It's brilliant. And yeah, definitely the word game changer was thrown around in the room when everybody was there and we were talking about it. We've all seen what ChatGPT can do. It's basically like those language models working in the Atlassian ecosystem. So that can change a lot of things once it is fully out there and available for general public. But yeah, till then, this is what the Atlassian course recommend. This is what the project admin should do, and that's what you should study. Anything else, gentlemen, ladies? Thank you, Deborah. We'll definitely schedule something for the migration. I'll work with Arshia on that. Can we have the recording? Yes, I will upload this recording, or maybe Arshia will give me this recording and upload it on a YouTube, and then we can put the link out on the community's featured page. So when you go back to the actual event link, you'll be able to see that there.
Yes, I'll be uploading it to YouTube and share link with everyone.
Perfect. Awesome. So I'm just going to stop the recording.